What is going on, y'all? Check me out here, and I'm back with another monthly faves May edition. And of course, y'all, I got some goodies of all the things that I have been enjoying, from my favorite tech to my non-tech items like music, TV shows, bags, books, whatever has been on my radar. But yeah, y'all, everything is going to be timestamped below and linked below. And if you want to catch up on the previous episodes, I'm going to have that also linked below and in one of these corners. But let's get to the first item. My LG monitor. So this is a 45-inch OLED display, and the colors are just super vibrant. But there were some adjustments for me in terms of like moving from my studio display to this one. Like, one thing I noticed, this doesn't have a, webcam built into it. And the speakers on this, they don't quite do it for me. So, I tend to use headphones. But when it comes to working on this screen here, oh my God, I love like putting my Final Cut window up and just seeing my timeline stretched fully across from left to right. It's also been really great when I'm referencing like my notes app and I'm editing, because I can have both of those apps up at the same time, side by side. But being, that this does have an OLED screen, the blacks are super deep and the colors are rich. And I found myself just overall, like, I don't know, more locked in. It's something about the curve of this display, because I've used other widescreen monitors and I tend to not fully utilize the screen because it's something about the way that it would be extended flat from left to right. I just never really looked to the far corners. But being that the edges of this screen actually curve out to me, I tend to use the entire screen, visually. I haven't really gamed up here, but I do know it has a low latency. It's basically not gonna have any lag or ghosting. And over here, I do have my M4 MacBook Pro connected to it, and it is able to power it, so I don't have to use like a separate cord and adapter for that. It's just this one cable connected from my computer to my monitor, giving it power. So yeah, this has been really great for my editing sessions. And so if I get into gaming up here, it'll be good for that too. Another fave for the month definitely has to be my Sony headphones, y'all. If you follow me on IG, I have been like, mentioning these a couple of times, and it's for a good reason, because they just deliver on everything. So these are the newest headphones from Sony, and it's the WH-1000X-M6 headphones. It is a little bit of a fingerprint magnet, but I love how comfortable these are. Like the ear cups, they just sit so snug and secure on my ears. It's one of those headphones that, like, as soon as you put them on without even turning them on, you can hear how well it seals off sound. But the noise cancellation on these, it is a noticeable improvement from the previous version. I don't, hear any background noise and stuff like that. I used these on a couple of flights, had no issues. The battery life was phenomenal. I didn't find myself like annoyed or uncomfortable with them on my ears for my longer flights. It is a bit of a fingerprint magnet though, like that's the one thing I don't like. But the case here is so nice. It's like a magnetic close here. I love the fact that they fold up like this. It makes them so much easier to carry or loop onto something. It does have touch controls on the sides, so you can just swipe to adjust the volume, switch tracks, or call up the assistant. Oh, how did I forget this one, y'all? This is probably what did it for me. The fact that these actually switch automatically from device to device as I jump between them. So like when I'm on my phone and then I jump to my laptop, the headphones automatically switch with me, so I don't have to like unpair, repair. Some of them say that they do that, but when you're using like your phone and then you go to your laptop, you still have to tell it to connect the audio to those headphones. Like it sees them, but it doesn't auto-connect. These, however, auto-connect. This wireless charger, y'all, oh my gosh. I don't need another one, but I'm glad that I stumbled across this one because it is so thin. Like, I've been using the Anker MagSafe one, which is nice. It still is nice, but the thinness of this one is what got me, because I was going to the Beyonce concert. These places have their bag policies and all of that, and space gets tight. So I didn't want a big portable charger on me, and this one was so perfect to bring along. It's probably even thinner than my wallet, and it has a built-in stand here. I also took this along on one of my trips. It was nothing to throw this in my bag, my pocket. It is MagSafe, so you know, you don't have to use a cord, but you do have the option to use one on the side here. And there are also some LEDs so you can get the battery life on this. It's not cheap, but it's the size right here is so perfect for so many scenarios, and it charged my phone up pretty fast. Truthfully, I got sent one for review. I don't know what happened. I misplaced it on one of my trips, but I liked this thing so much, I went and bought another one so that, you know, I could still have it. So UAG, you did your thing. Y'all, this next one, oh my gosh, the Samsung Galaxy Edge. This one was a little creeper because I'm like, okay, it's a thinner phone. I like the experience with this so far and just how thin it actually is. Now, I do miss the telephoto camera that is on the S25 Ultra. Being up here, but it is one thing I'm willing to sacrifice because, you know, normally I'm all about the ultra wide lens, but on the Galaxies, I'm all about that zoom, you know? I love the screen up here. The battery life has not been an issue for me, and especially for me, you know, typically having like an iPhone, Android on me, this is nice to carry. It's like, look at it, y'all. I recently got in a little care package from a few different companies, and one of those in particular being this one here, Static. They have these really interesting USB-C cables, and it was so like on time when they reached out. So the way that it works is it basically snaps the cable back together via a magnet, so it can never really get untangled and stay untangled, and it just keeps it together in this nice little form. The little organization queen in me, y'all, I don't have to keep wrapping cables around each other. But another thing they sent out was this cable here. And it's funny, y'all, because for this to be like a tech household, the one thing I struggle to find sometimes are cables. So the thing I like with the cable here is that it has an end that not only rotate, but it also has this piece that I can disconnect and then reconnect another end to it. So I can switch from like USB-C to micro USB to Lightning. The thing though, is that, you know, these are little pieces and they snap via magnet. But the other ones, when you're not using them, they're just loose. Similar to my wireless charger. I sadly lost one of the connector tips, so I'm glad that I have a few other ones from them that I can use. But that would be my one thing I would say. Definitely have some type of system in place to safely keep these things together. I forgot to mention this one too, y'all, but this is another favorite, and it's just a little emergency cable, and it actually got me through. So it has the USB-C or USB end, and then on the opposite side, you can power to something that's via Lightning or USB-C. Throw this in here. Now always have a cable on me. Another thing that I got in recently is the camera that I'm filming this with, actually, which is my Sony a7C Mark II. I was deciding between this and the Sony FX3. I don't know, I just couldn't figure out which one would be best for me. And I'm still low-key kind of like still side-eyeing the FX3. But the reason that I went with this particular one is the fact that it's really great for photos and videos. It's compact, the quality is phenomenal. I also grabbed the new Sony 16mm lens with the f1.8 aperture, you know, so that's how we got this nice blurry background behind me. But this was the lens from Sony that I have been looking for and waiting for. It's lightweight, it has a low f-stop. It's small, and it's by Sony. You know, like it's native to the camera. So I've taken this setup around with me on a few of my trips, filmed a few of my recent videos with it as well, and so far, so good. Y'all know I love my Beats. They released 2 new colors of the Beats Peel. There's now an exclusive blue and pink option. Both of them look good. And the one that I was rocking lately with the, you know, new colors is this one here. Can't remember if we talked about this before, but nonetheless, you're familiar with the Beats line. You know this is like the original, like the mascot of Beats when they first came out. And it was just too cute not to get. It's a little case that the Beats Peel sits inside of. I can still access my USB-C port here on the back. Oh, and the buttons too are still accessible at the top. So now I can swap out the red one and use one of the new colors in here. I love sunshades, and a pair that I absolutely adore are my Ray-Bans. The thing that I love about them is how well I am able to see out of them. Like, you know how sometimes with sunshades, the lenses tint your perspective or your view of the world. And if you're looking at your phone, the reflection looks all weird. And I don't like that. But those Ray-Bans, I didn't have that issue. So I was very, very particular about the next pair of shades that I would kind of like lean into more heavily. But the pair that grabbed my attention is this one from Warby Parker. This is my, first pair of glasses, sunshades from them, frames from them. I've heard their name before, but I have never owned a pair. And I'm impressed. I like it. There's so many options, but the one issue I had with them at first is that they wouldn't like sit correctly on my face. They would constantly slide down my nose to the point like I didn't even want to wear them. So I ended up looking online for some solutions, and I came across these little nose grips, and it worked. So I put them on the insides of my shades, and now my shades sit on my face. Like, it doesn't randomly slide up and down like it was doing before. But the one thing I will say is that over time, these, do start to lose some of its, stickiness. So you will have to swap them out, but that's fine because they give you a couple in a pack. Okay, I'm a bit OCD. Nonetheless, when I first got my home, the countertops drove me insane because I love a, clean surface that isn't busy. And the countertops in my kitchen were the exact opposite of that, to the point that it made it really hard to see if I had like crumbs and stuff up there. So I ended up grabbing this vacuum from the countertop. And I didn't think it was gonna be as good as it is, but it was. And I'm glad because I've had this now for so long and I'm about to buy another one. It does what it says. It gets the crumbs off my countertop and it leaves the guesswork out of if they're there or not for me. So I just flip the switch on the side and it does a really good job at grabbing everything. There's also these brushes on it that help with the cleaning. So if you're similar or just want a nice way to kind of keep your countertops clean, I highly recommend this. Lately, I've really been trying to lean more into my hobbies because I get so consumed with just work and life that I don't always take the time to pour into the things that actually refuel me. And reading is one of those. I love to read. And I usually would read books on my Kindle. But I recently went to the bookstore. We grabbed a few books while we were there. The book that I just finished is this one. It spoke a lot to me. It's written by Gary Bishop. I like what the author had to say because we get in our own way, man. You know what you need to do, but we get caught up on what we want to do, like what we're in the mood to do. And that just messes us up. But there's so many learns in here. A lot of things that I really wanted to highlight for myself to go back to. The one thing I didn't like though is that there are like these quotes sprinkled in the middle of your readings. Like the sentence is going on to the next page, but before I can get there, I'm hit with this quote. And I start reading the quote and my mind starts processing that, but then I have to go to the next page to finish my sentence, and it just becomes like a mixture of thoughts. So that was the one thing I would say that I didn't like about the way the book was written. But outside of that, there were a lot of good takeaways. And you'll notice in here, I have these little book tabs. So this is another favorite for the month. I got these off Amazon. I didn't want to mark up my book with a highlighter, so I like the fact that I can just stick these onto the page right next to like the sentence that I want to draw reference to. But now that I have finished that one, I'm actually moving on to this one, Atomic Habits. I've heard a lot of good things about this, and I am very much on the beginning. I sometimes struggle with balance, so when I don't have the best handle on that, it starts to affect my consistency because I then start to take away from something too abruptly and too much, I also got this light for my book. This is nice because sometimes I'm in a, dim lit setting and I want to be able to read without flipping on a lamp or an overhead light. And this one, gives me a nice little light to do that. It has two settings, a brighter setting and a lower setting here. I don't even know if you could tell the difference. But you get the picture, y'all. It's a book light. All of my fellow hot-natured people, get you a portable fan. Oh my gosh, this one thing has changed my life lately. And I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but it's real because if you've been following the channel, I had a hysterectomy back in 2020, back in 2023. And it feels like ever since then, oh my gosh, I get so hot. I will break out in a sweat out of nowhere. It is not hot flashes. It is not early menopause. I'm just different, Before I had the hysterectomy, I had low iron, so I was always cold. But now I feel like I am always hot, you know? Like, oh my gosh, I sweat so quickly and so bad. I've had these portable fans and I would bring them to like concerts and festivals, and I don't know why it never clicked to me before now that I can use them at home. I don't know why in my mind I had to use them when I was out, you know? Even at my wedding, I had a portable fan because I already knew what was finna go down. I was in a suit, I was gonna be hot. After that, my mom actually gifted me a neck fan, and that did me another level of wonders. I will wear that around the house when I'm cleaning, you know, instead of changing the thermostat for the entire home, I just throw on my neck fan. If you also are a bit hot-natured, please get you a fan, a portable neck fan. It makes the heck of a difference. Yeah, bags. Y'all already know my favorites. I know when I went on my trip to Sweden with Spotify, we were shopping and came across this bag store. I didn't think I was gonna find anything in it. You know, I was just honestly looking for, you know, pure entertainment, not really shopping, until I found the bag. This one right here reminded me so much of my Reigns bag. I love my Reigns bag, but it's too minimal. Whereas this one adds the pockets that my Reigns bag is missing. So I got a front pocket. I still got the nice flap here to seal things off. You know, nice material, very easy to clean. Straps on it are super comfortable. And then on the inside, I even have organizational pockets, which I do not have on my Reigns bag. So again, like I said, this is like the better version of my previous Reigns bag. And I thought I was done after I had saw that one. And then I kept walking a little bit and I saw another one that grabbed me. Again, similar to the Reigns concept with the material, but better pockets. I was torn on which to get, so I got both. A bigger one, it unfortunately though cannot hold my MacBook, but it can hold my iPad. And the smaller bag is more so like for my, you know, light camera days, when I want to carry my DJI Pocket, an extra phone, you know, things like that. So they each have their own individual purpose, and they both definitely get used. Another bag that I've been leaning in real heavy lately, which honestly surprised me, is my Peak Design everyday tote bag. So this is the bone colorway, and I've had this bag for years, but I never really carried it. I didn't use it because of the color of it. Like, I loved it and I got it because of the color, but in the same breath, I didn't want to use it like that because of the color. I didn't want to get it dirty. I was trying to find a different bag to take, and then my wife encouraged me to take it. I was like, and at first I was a little reluctant, but I'm glad that I did it because I loved it. I was very hesitant about the fact that it didn't have any like external pockets. However, on the back though, there is an area that I can tuck in the backpack straps. But what I typically use it for is to put other items like my keys, my passport, my face mask, stuff like that, you know. Now on the outside of the bag, as you can see, there really aren't any external pockets except this one up here at the top. I found in most cases when I'm sitting down and I want to get something out of my bag, it's easier to grab it from the outside at the top of my bag than it would be to have to reach all the way down to the bottom at the front of my bag. I have these handles, so that gives me another way to be able to grab it. Also quickly access my camera gear here from the side of the bag. And at the top, there's actually a magnetic handle so that it can convert into a tote bag. I tuck the straps in and then it becomes that. But most of the time I use it as a backpack. This here is also magnetic and it folds down like this, but I can just open it up like that, which, oh, it's just so satisfying. I can zip it closed if I want to add an extra layer of protection, but it's really nice to be able to just close the flap like that to still have some peace of mind that my bag is closed, even though, you know, it isn't zipped. But on the inside, there's a sleeve for my laptop, another sleeve for my iPad, and then there's these Velcro dividers here that can be readjusted. So what I typically do is put my camera on one side and then like my stands or my portable charger on the other. But yeah, this has been my fave lately. Like, get into the details. It is such a stunning bag. It was too stunning, and it stands on its own. That's how you know the bag was too stunning. I didn't even want to take it out. What's the logic? The TV shows and movies. Oh man, the show that I've been on lately, Young Sheldon. Y'all, it's the prequel to The Big Bang Theory. I have never seen The Big Bang Theory, and you don't need to see The Big Bang Theory to understand young Sheldon. All in all, what it really centers around is following Sheldon along through his life in Texas as a kid growing up. It's the comedy, his, like social skills are lack thereof always make me laugh. It's a great show if you want like a mindless watch. Outside of that show, I don't think I've really been watching much else. I know y'all, if you've been watching the previous episodes of my monthly fave, I still need to finish Paradise. And I still need to finish Severance. So we're gonna leave it there, okay? And we're gonna move on to my music of the month. So my Spotify playlist that I have curated for you all is linked down below. But this is, a quick sample of what's on it. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this one, y'all. You can feel free to, follow me or check me out on Instagram. I post content up there as well and update you on what I'm up to. So, till the next one, y'all. As always, thanks for taking the time out to let me check you out.